Have you ever felt like you can suddenly see through everything? Like people's words don't quite match their energy. Like situations feel staged. Like the world around you has layers you never noticed before. It's almost unsettling, isn't it? But here's the truth: you're not becoming cynical. You're becoming aware, and once that shift begins, it doesn't stop. At first, it shows up quietly. You start noticing small things: the tone behind someone's voice, the intention behind actions, the patterns in conversations. Things you would have ignored before now stand out clearly. It's like your mind has stepped back and started observing instead of just participating. And that's where it begins, this feeling of seeing through everything. You might start questioning things that once felt normal. Why do people say things they don't mean? Why do certain social rules even exist? Why do so many interactions feel rehearsed? It's not that the world has suddenly changed, it's that your perception of it has. You're no longer taking things at face value, and that can feel both powerful and deeply uncomfortable. Because when you start seeing clearly, illusions begin to fall apart. You notice when someone is being insincere. You recognize when something is driven by ego, fear, or habit rather than truth. Even your own behaviors become more visible to you, patterns you've repeated without ever questioning. And that's not always easy to sit with. There's often a moment where awareness turns into frustration. You see things so clearly, yet you realize most people aren't looking at it the same way. Conversations can feel surface level. Environments that once felt fine now feel draining. You might even feel like you don't quite belong in spaces you used to fit into effortlessly. It can feel isolating. But this isn't about disconnecting from the world, it's about understanding it on a deeper level. What's really happening is that your mind is moving beyond automatic thinking. For most of our lives, we operate on learned patterns, beliefs picked up from family, society, past experiences. We rarely question them because they feel familiar. But awareness disrupts that familiarity. It asks questions, it looks deeper, it refuses to accept things just because they've always been that way. And that's why it can feel like you're seeing through everything. You're seeing beyond the surface, beyond appearances, beyond assumptions, beyond the roles people play. Even your sense of self can start to shift. You may begin to realize that parts of your identity were built on expectations rather than truth. The way you speak, the way you behave, the choices you make, how much of that was truly you and how much was conditioned. That realization can be unsettling. It can feel like the ground beneath you is shifting, but it's also where real clarity begins. Because once you see it, you have a choice. You can continue living on autopilot, or you can start making decisions consciously, and that's where things begin to change. You might find yourself pulling back from certain situations, not out of avoidance, but out of awareness. You may become more selective with your time, your energy, your conversations. Not everything deserves your attention anymore, and you can feel that. At the same time, it's important not to let this awareness turn into detachment or judgment. Seeing through things doesn't mean rejecting everything. It simply means understanding it for what it is. There's a balance here. You're learning to see clearly without becoming cold, to understand deeply without becoming overwhelmed, to observe without losing your ability to connect. And that takes time. You don't need to rush to label everything or figure it all out. In fact, trying to overanalyze every situation can make this process heavier than it needs to be. Awareness isn't about having all the answers, it's about being present enough to notice what's real. Grounding yourself becomes essential here. Simple things matter more than you think. Stepping outside, breathing deeply, taking a quiet moment to yourself, these are what keep you centered when your mind feels like it's seeing too much all at once. Because yes, there will be moments where it feels like too much, moments where you wish you could go back to not noticing, not questioning, not seeing so deeply. But that's not how growth works. You can't unsee what you've seen, and more importantly, you wouldn't want to, because beneath the discomfort, there's something incredibly valuable happening. You're developing clarity, you're becoming more intentional, you're starting to live with awareness instead of assumption, and that changes everything about how you move through life. So if you've been feeling like you can see through everything lately, don't panic. Don't assume you're becoming disconnected or negative. You're becoming conscious. You're learning to see beyond the surface, and while it may feel unfamiliar now, It's actually bringing you closer to what's real. If this resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more content like this, don't forget to subscribe. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next one.